If the Torah is for us today, why is it that we do not see leprosy, as is described in Scripture, taking place among people and the body of Messiah? Hi, this is Barry Phillips, the 10-Minute Torah, day number 4, the Torah portion, Sirah. And we are going now into chapter number 13. Yay! We'll begin reading with verse number 1, Leviticus or chapter 13. Yahweh spoke to Moshe and to Aaron, saying, when a man has on the skin of his body a swelling, a scab, or a bright spot, and it shall become on the skin of his body like a leprous infection, then he should be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of his sons the priest, and the priest shall look at the infection on the skin of the body, and if the hair on the infection is turned white, and the infection appears to be deeper than the skin on his body, it is a leprous infection, and the priest shall look at him and pronounce him unclean. What follows then is an isolation from the main part of the camp, where he is quarantined on the outer edge of the camp until such time that this malady is rectified or taken care of. That's another teaching. For today, let's understand that what is being called in most translations, including this one that I use most often, the Scriptures translation, it is, in my estimation, erroneously translated leprosy. Leprosy is best known as Hansen's disease, in which the digits, the fingers, the toes, the end of the nose, the ears, etc., the extremities of the body are eaten away until it begins to infect the rest of the body. This is a disease that was introduced to the Middle East by Alexander the Great and his armies. Did not exist during the days of Moshe in the Middle East, in the area of Israel. So what is this then? If it's not what we commonly call leprosy, what is it? It is scripturally called Tzara. If you're taking notes and you want to transliterate that, you can spell it T-Z apostrophe A-R apostrophe A-T, Tzara. And it is a physical malady who has a root and a spiritual malady, or a spiritual deficiency, or a spiritual error on the inside causes the outside to demonstrate it. The issue is that it comes up out of the inside of the man, from his spirit, out of his heart, out of his innermost being. The skin is only revealing the fact that there is something wrong on the inside. Now, if your diet is poor, then you may have some issues with your skin, with your hair, with your nails, with the color of your skin. It is an outward sign to reveal something's not right on the inside. This is very, very true scripturally and spiritually. Let's go to the book of Ephesians chapter number 4, if I can get there, and begin reading with verse 29. Let no corrupt word come out of your mouth, but only such as good for use of building up, so as to impart what is pleasant to hearers. And do not grieve the set-apart Spirit of Elohim, by whom you were sealed for the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and displeasure and uproar and slander be put away from you, along with all evil. And be kind toward one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as Elohim also forgave you in Messiah. This is the proper diet on the inside of us, that we be tender-hearted, that we have compassion, that we show forgiveness, that we speak truth, that we refrain from slander, etc. We are taking away that which is not beneficial and ingesting that which is. In the book of 2 Corinthians, in chapter number 12, verse number 20, Rav Shaul is writing to a very troubling and troubled congregation with a host of issues. And he says, "For I fear lest when I come, I do not find you such as I wish, and I be found by you such as you do not wish." That's a very lightly veiled, I won't say threat, but indication. I'm coming there to straighten some things out. For he continues, "Lest there be strife, jealousies, outburst of wrath, selfish ambitions, slander, gossip, puffing up, and unrest. And lest when I come again, my Elohim should humble me among you, and I shall mourn for many who have sinned before and have not repented of the uncleanness and whoring and indecency which they have practiced." In other words, I'm coming to town and I want to straighten it out. Now, there is an issue among the body of Messiah in many areas where people simply don't want scriptural, biblical leadership. They're afraid of it. And I understand that there are many sheep that have been wounded and abused by abusive shepherds. But there are also those who need to carry the right authority of Elohim in their walk and demonstrate it among the people to help them to understand you are accountable and you can't live just any old way and be accepted to the Messiah. Why? Well, we continue. Let's go over to the book of Hebrews, chapter number 12. Verse 15 says, "See to it that no one falls short of the favor of Elohim, that no root of bitterness springing up causes trouble, by which many become defiled." A defiling. In the book of Yaakov or James, chapter number 3, verse number 5, "So too the tongue is a little member, yet boasts greatly. Say how a little fire kindles a great forest. And the tongue is a fire, the world of unrighteousness. Among our members the tongue is set, the one defiling the entire body, and setting on fire the wheel of life, and it is set on fire by Gehenna." Yeshua taught us in the book of Matthew, chapter number 15. And he tells us in that chapter about what comes out of our mouths. He says, verse 18, "But what comes out of the mouth comes from the heart, and these defile the man. For out of the heart come forth wicked reasonings, murders, adulteries, whorings, thefts, false witnessings, slanders. These defile the man, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile the man." The issue is this: when we are slanderous, malicious, adulterous, proud, and vicious in our words and the character of our heart, it's going to spill out of our mouths. It's going to divide us in the body. It's going to wreck the body of Messiah, whether you're in a large congregation or just a handful in a living room or however you gather. It has divisive effect. Now, to the opening question, why is it then that we don't see Sarat springing up on people who are acting out, that are bothering and corrupting and dividing the body of Messiah? It could be that it's in the act of Yah's mercy being demonstrated, in that we do not currently have a standing Levitical priesthood, a high priest or his sons who have the authority to make such a diagnosis. Without such one to have the authority to diagnosis, then we don't see the demonstration of it. When the priesthood is established again, we may see this rise up, and we may know who is who. in the midst of us. Think on that, and we'll see you tomorrow. Till then, shalom.